The ground still shudders. It holds the memory of the Albertosaurus's death throes, a tremor that travels up through the soles of the clan's feet. They stand in a wary circle around the fallen tyrant, its massive head twisted at an unnatural angle where the pitfalls sharpen stakes. Marvels of their osteodontocratic technology. Did their work. Spears of bone and flint bristle from its flank, testament to a desperate, coordinated attack. This is a great victory. Weeks of meat, bones for new tools. A reign of terror over their hunting grounds is finally over. For the clan of the Red Ochre, this moment is survival. But Kale does not look at the dead predator. His gaze is fixed beyond it, on the trembling, fern-shrouded hollow where the Albertosaurus made its gill just before the trap was sprung. He alone hears it, a low, whistling cry, a sound of pure desolation that cuts through the triumphant shouts of his kin. He moves, his old limbs stiff but sure. The clan's leader, Beowulf, a man carved from rock and necessity, grabs his arm. Kale, it is done. Let the carvers begin. Kale pulls his arm away gently, his eyes never leaving the hollow. The sound comes again, higher this time, a pitch of infant panic. Beowulf follows his gaze and grunts an understanding. Then dismissal. The great horns carve. The beast's last meal, interrupted. Leave it. The forest will claim it by nightfall. It is the law of this world, a law that governs all prehistoric life. The weak, the unlucky, the orphaned, they are reclaimed by the soil. But Kale sees the small, armored body huddled behind a cycad. Its frill still soft, its 3 horns barely more than nubs. He sees its wide, dark eye, a mirror of terror, and in that eye, he sees his own failure. He sees Amara, his daughter, her small hand slipping from his grasp as the shadow of a Utahraptor fell over them 6 winters ago. A cry just like that. A helplessness just as absolute. The memory is a phantom limb, an ache that never ceases. The clan is already at work on the carcass, their flint blades parting the thick hide with practiced efficiency. They are ancient humans, their minds focused on the immediate, on the tangible reward of protein and fat that will see them through the lean season. They do not see what Kale sees. They see a nuisance, a future rival for grazing land, or at best, an insignificant morsel not worth the effort. Kale walks toward the hollow. The Triceratops scalp, no bigger than a large boar, shies away, bumping into the carcass of its mother. It lets out another bleat of terror. Kale stops. He sinks to one knee, a slow, deliberate motion that communicates no threat. He holds out an empty hand. He makes no sound. He simply waits. He is an elder. He has taught the young hunters how to read the tracks of dinosaurs, how to predict the storms, how to find the medicinal route. Now, he feels a different kind of knowledge stirring, something for which these human ancestors have no words. It is the simple, crushing weight of empathy. An instinct as powerful as hunger. The clan watches him, their work slowing. They see an old man lost in grief, his mind finally cracked by time and sorrow. Beowulf strides over, his voice low and hard. What are you doing? It is nothing. Come away. Kale looks up at him, his face a mask of quiet resolve. No, he says, his voice raspy. I will not. Beowulf does not challenge him again, not with words. Instead, a wall of silence rises between Kale and his clan. It is a heavier thing than stone, as the others butcher the Albertosaurus and carry the meat back to the caves. Kale coaxes the trembling calf from the hollow. He brings it water and a tortoise shell. He finds the softest, cycad hearts, the kind he once gathered for Elara when she was teething, and lays them before the orphan. The calf, driven by a hunger that overrides its fear, eventually eats. It's hard, carotenoid beak making a soft, scraping sound. He names it Knob, for the nascent horns that promise a formidable future. The name is a secret he keeps in his own heart, a whisper against the wind. The clan sees only an old man's folly, a dangerous sentimentality in a prehistoric world that punishes such weakness. They see him wasting his energy, His time, on a creature that should be carrion. Every mouthful of fern Nub eats is a mouthful a clan member did not gather. Days bleed into weeks. Kale becomes a shadow at the edge of the clan, his life revolving around the growing calf. He learns its habits, the low rumble it makes when content, the sharp flick of its frill when alarmed. He guides it to hidden streams and sheltered clearings, always moving, always watching. The greatest threat is not the lingering scent of the kill that draws scavengers, but the silent hunters who own the twilight. One evening, as dusk paints the sky in shades of blood and charcoal, they appear, two of them, Velociraptors. They emerge from the undergrowth like ghosts, their movements fluid and terrifyingly silent. They are not large, but they are built of sinew and malice, their sickle claws held aloft, twitching with anticipation. Their bird-like eyes, cold and intelligent, fix on Nub. Kale instantly places himself between the predators and the calf, his bone-tipped spear held low. He is old. His strength is a fading ember. The raptors know this. They split up, a classic flanking maneuver that speaks to an ancient, predatory genius. They chitter to each other, a series of clicks and hisses that is the sound of coordinated death. This is a moment that will define their hominid history. No, none are there to record it. Nub, terrified, lets out a shrill cry and presses against Kale's back. The pressure is a strange comfort, a reminder of what he is protecting. The first raptor fights, a blur of motion to his left, as Kale turns to meet it. The second one darts in from the right. He is too slow. He feels a searing pain as the sickle cross lashes across his thigh. He stumbles, crying out, but he does not fall. He pivots, thrusting his spear into the packed earth before the creature, forcing it to leap back. Fire, his only true advantage. He snatches a burning brand from the small fire. He keeps lit at all times and swings it in a wide arc. The raptors hiss, backing away from the flames, their predatory confidence momentarily broken by the one element they cannot overcome. They circle for another minute, their obsidian eyes weighing the risk against the reward, before melting back into the jungle. Kale stands panting, his legs screaming in agony, the smell of burnt hair and his own blood thick in the air. He leans against Nub's solid flank, and the young Triceratops makes a low, rumbling noise deep in its chest, nudging him gently with its head. From the ridge above, unseen, Bio and two other hunters watch the entire encounter before turning away. Their faces grim and unreadable. The gash on Kale's leg heals slowly, leaving a jagged, silver scar. It is a mark of his choice, and the clan now looks at it with a new, complex emotion that is not quite respect, but is no longer disdain. They see him limp through the camp, always followed by the steady, thudding footsteps of Nub, who is growing rapidly. The young Triceratops is now the size of a bull, its horns sharpening, its frill hardening into a formidable shield. It ignores the other humans, its loyalty absolute and singular. It is Kale's shadow, a walking fortress of bone and muscle. The clan learns to live with its presence, their fear giving way to a grudging acceptance. They are witnessing the impossible, a bond forged across a gulf of million years ago, a connection that their survival skills and ancient tools could never have created. The true test comes when the seasons turn. The scent of the great kill has faded, but a new power has moved into the vacuum left by the Albertosaurus. One morning, two shapes emerge onto the plains below their caves. Carnotaurus. They are smaller than a T-Rex, but built for speed, their muscled legs promising a devastating charge, their horned brows giving them a demonic visage. They are a mated pair, a far more dangerous proposition than a lone hunter. They are mapping their new territory, and the clan settlement is in the center of it. For 2 days, the clan is trapped, watching as the predators hunt with brutal efficiency. The fear in the caves is a palpable thing, thick and suffocating. On the 3rd morning, Kale takes Nub to a small, isolated patch of ferns at the base of the cliff. It is a risk, but the calf must eat. He stands guard, spear in hand, his old eyes scanning the horizon. He does not see the male Carnotaurus detach from the plains. Using a dry riverbed as cover, it bursts from the scrub with an explosive grunt. A blow of mottled brown heightened predatory intent. Cautious nub behind him. A frail gesture against such power. He plants the butt of his spear in the dirt, bracing for an impact that will surely be his end. The clan watches from the cave mouths above. Their shouts of alarm swallowed by the wind. They are too far, too late. This is the brutal calculus of prehistoric life. Biora grips his own spear, his knuckles white, his face a mask of conflict. The law is the law? But what they have witnessed for months wars with that ancient pragmatism. Before the clan can act, before the Carnotaurus can close the final distance, Nub moves. With a bellow that is no longer the cry of a frightened calf but the roar of a territorial bull. He charges. He lowers his head, presenting a wall of horn and bone, and slams into the predator's flank. The impact is staggering. The Carnotaurus is thrown sideways, its charge broken, roaring in surprise and pain. It scrambles for footing, turning its fury on this unexpected aggressor. This is the moment. Biora lets out a sharp cry, not of fear, but of command. A volley of spears, hurled with the collective might of the clan's hunters, rains down from the cliff. They are not kill shots. They are a storm of piercing deterrents. The spears thud into the predator's thick hide, enraging it but also confusing it. Its mate calls from the plains, and the embattled carnivore, faced with a defiant, armored beast on the ground and a painful assault from above, makes a tactical decision. It lets out a final, frustrated roar and retreats. Silent descends, broken only by careless rag breathing. He looks at Nub, who stands over him, panting. He looks up at his clan, who stand on the precipice, their spears lowered. Biora meets his gaze, and in that shared look, an entire philosophy of survival crumbles and is rebuilt. The clan's future will no longer be determined solely by their own strength, but by the alliances they dare to forge. Kayla's act of compassion, born of grief, has not been a folly. It has been a profound leap in their human evolution. This single event, unrecorded, unwitnessed only by a handful of ancient humans, became a turning point in the silent, unwritten pages of anthropology. It was the first time our ancestors looked upon one of the great beasts not as meat, not as a monster, but as a potential ally. Kayla's grief for his lost child created a bridge between two species that the world had decreed as eternal enemies. In protecting the vulnerable, the clan discovered a strength greater than any spear point: the power of symbiosis. This was more than taming. It was the dawn of stewardship, the radical idea that humanity's ascent need not be a solitary climb, but could be a shared journey. From this singular act of interspecies empathy, a new path forked in the deep past, a path that would eventually lead to the dog at our hearth, the horse under our saddle, and the audacious belief that we are not just inhabitants of this world, but its keepers. How much of our own capacity for compassion, for looking beyond the self, was first practiced not on each other, but on a creature of horn and scale, in the desperate shadow of teeth and claws. For the chronicle of humanity is not written in the dust of what we conquered, but in the echoes of what we chose to protect. But in the deep waters, something ancient was learning to think.